Imagine two kids eyeing the last slice of pizza. One kid is taller, the other shorter. Should they both get half? Or should the shorter kid get a bit more so they can reach it? That is the age-old dilemma of fairness, and it's more complicated than your local pizzeria's topping policy. Fairness is the moral Swiss Army knife of ethics, powerful, versatile, and often misused. Philosophers, teachers, managers, parents, and algorithms all use the word, but do they mean the same thing? Let's dive into the video. Fairness. What even is that? At its core, fairness means making decisions without prejudice, no favorites, no bias, no sneaky side deals. John Rawls, a titan in moral philosophy, boiled fairness down to two key ideas. Everyone deserves equal basic liberties, and if society is unequal, those gaps must help benefit the least advantaged. But Rawls also warned that social privileges can't override liberty, no trading basic rights for security. Fast forward to behavioral science and psychology, and fairness becomes a tug-of-war between equality, same support for all, and equity. So fairness isn't about treating everyone identically, it's about giving everyone a fair shot. Equality versus equity. Two people want to see over a fence. Equality gives both a 1-foot box. The tall one sees fine, the short one still sees the fence. Equity gives each the box they need so both can see the view. Critics shout, "That's not fair," forgetting no all start at the same height. In schools, bilingual classes, free breakfasts, extra funding. In colleges, merit-based aid is not reverse discrimination, it's catching people up. At work, blind hiring and pay transparency beat hollow DEI reports. Equity isn't about giving more, it's giving what's needed. Like Grandma says, fair is not everyone getting the same, it's everyone getting what helps. Fairness in schools. Classrooms are hothouses of fairness and its opposite. Berkeley's researchers highlight that fairness includes caring about how rewards are shared on stage and behind the scenes. Global education like UNESCO raises the alarm on barriers, socioeconomics, gender bias, disability, systemic tracking that locks kids into lower performing groups too early. Tracking students by ability might publicize equity, but research shows when done too soon, it cements unfairness permanently. The impact is not abstract. One U.S. Department of Education study showed 40% of high poverty schools get less funding due to property tax models. Think fewer books, labs, or lunch hours. Equity-based interventions, inclusive policies, diverse teacher recruitment, peer programs can reverse this. Fairness at work. Fair pay equals more productivity. That's not controversial. A Great Place to Work study found transparent, fairly distributed pay makes employees 36% more likely to go the extra mile and 28% more likely to stay. A simple handshake deal. Nope data win. Allowing open promotion paths boosts fairness. Workplaces where everyone sees opportunity feel 1.8 times more well and motivated. Recognition across roles boosts effort and meaning. Universal respect isn't a perk, it's a booster shot for morale. Sick of DEI checklists? Bonet and Chalazi argue fairness isn't trendy, it's foundational. Focus on process, remove bias in hiring, tweak unclear communications, nudge fairness be a system design, and normalizing fairness is easier than preaching it. Not special treatment, just justice. Yes, diversity, equity, and inclusion is controversial these days, but its defenders say, quite rightly, diversity, equity, and inclusion is corrective, not special treatment. Those policies exist to balance historical disadvantages, not reward or punish. Diverse teams make better decisions, more innovation, fewer blind spots, but the pushback often ignores that same start line is a myth. DEI gives momentum to those who started behind. Bomet's experiments even show small messages like, "You were top 20%, sent to rejected job candidates can close gender gaps in reapplications." That's not charity, it's smart equity. When code needs a soul. Fairness isn't human exclusive. Machine learning systems need checks, fair ML, and those checks have two layers: technical fairness and normative justice. For instance, radiology algorithms, to be fair, must flag false positives equally across genders, no bias misdiagnosis. But sometimes the data reflects historical bias, requiring cautious application. Algorithmic bias is real. One study found facial recognition error rates up to 35% for darker-skinned women, compared to near-perfect accuracy for lighter-skinned men. Data biases get baked into AI unless counteracted. Ethics labs recommend multi-layered fairness, equitable treatment, unbiased outcomes, appeal options, and transparency so individuals can contest bad decisions. Researchers note 5 urgent challenges: distinguishing technical fairness from justice, measuring vulnerability, accounting for historical oppression, anticipating unintended effects, and discovering community preferences. Diverse teams designing AI help too right now. Only about 12% of machine learning engineers are women, and fewer are minorities. Representation matters even in code. Fairness at scale. Fairness isn't only slices, salaries, and search engines, it's about democratic trust. Australians say the fair go is eroding, triggering political uncertainty and reshaping voting. And in the UK, 63% believe the wealthy have too much influence. A sign inequality threatens democracy itself. When fairness is absent, systems fracture. Wealth inequality, poor social mobility, and skewed political power, these aren't drafting policies, they're undermining trust. Citizens want fairness, not fraud. Equity, not escapism. They want work that pays, schools that inspire, and systems that don't play favorites. Why fairness is hard. Fairness is messy. We want simple rules. Same input yields same output. But lives are not simple. We have history, social dynamics, culture, and complexity built in. Consider a hiring algorithm that filters resumes. Should it reject people from disadvantaged schools? No, for fairness, it must understand context. But create transparency, and people claim the algorithm is rigged. Opt out, and it's unaccountable. It's like being stuck between Stilla of skepticism and Charybdis of conspiracy theorists. Or take parking tickets. Enforcing rules evenly is fair, but if the fines wreck someone pours mud, is it still fair? Rawls might say yes, equal application of laws is needed. Critics ask, but who sets those laws? That's why fairness is a public conversation, not a private memo. Fairness is not boring, it's the plot of every drama. The bullied kid, the overlooked employee, the misdiagnosed patient, the rejected scholarship winner, the wrongly accused person, it all circles back to one principle: fairness matters. So what does fairness actually look like? Fairness means fairness feels fair and the data makes it clear. In education, it's equitable funding, inclusive curricula, and delaying early tracking that locks kids in too soon. At work, it's transparent pay, clear promotion paths, blind hiring, and norm entrepreneurship. For algorithms, it's about error parity, bias mitigation, contestability, and diverse teams behind the code. In society, it's tax equity, campaign finance limits, and equal political voice. When schools get 40% less per student funding or white-sounding names get 50% more callbacks, we don't need a philosophy seminar, we need real systemic change. What you can do, right now. Laugh at unfair memes, but don't stop there. In your world, fairness starts small. Speak up when school resources fall short. Tutors for the kid drowning in calculus. That's equity. At work, ask why promotions work the way they do and push for transparency. In society, vote for fairness, not just favorites. Wealthy campaign donors aren't the same as free speech. For AI, demand explainability. If an algorithm denies your loan, you deserve to know why. Fairness in your circle grows into fairness for communities, nations, and the tech shaping our future. Fairness is justice in practice. Fairness is not a slogan. It's a constant, dynamic effort to match equal opportunity with contextual understanding. It does not reject rules, it refines them. It recognizes history, data, and lived experience. It fights bias in humans and machines and listens when someone says, "That does not feel right." When fairness works, transparent promotions, equal test access, unbiased algorithms, and fair votes, trust flourishes. Communities thrive, people smile more, work gets done. And that's a wrap on today's deep dive into fairness, where pizza slices, paychecks, classrooms, and even algorithms all get a turn in the hot seat. If you found yourself nodding, smiling, or dramatically rethinking how you define fairness, do me a huge favor, hit that like button and smash subscribe.